All right, to a rather shocking story out of Florida. A former police chief is accused of trying to impress city councilors and area residents with a perfect burglary arrest record at the expense of an 18-year-old boy. This happened in Biscayne Park. It's a town about 3,000 people, about 20 minutes north of Miami. Officials there say Raimundo Aitecianos tried to pin 4 unsolved burglaries on this teenager to achieve a perfect record. Prosecutors say the chief even enlisted 2 of his officers to join in on this scheme. They say he directed them to arrest the boy for breaking into homes in 2013, even though there wasn't evidence to support the charges. That former chief resigned a year later. He is now set to be arraigned on the 25th. Meanwhile, the 2 other officers tied to the case, they're no longer with the department. They have court dates as well, set for later in this month. Joey Jackson is here. You know, I don't know. We find these good stories to talk to you about. There's a level of outrage. There's a level of just, I mean, the injustice here. The 16-year-old kid, man, is first of all, they'll expunge his record of these crimes, this teenager, right?
Sure, Michaela, just like you, to go right to the person who's affected and to correct the wrong, right?
This kid's just minding his business.
Exactly, and so that's problematic. And so to be clear, his record will be protected, expunged, and he'll be all good. But that says nothing about what they've done to him already. You could imagine the significance of this effect. And the irony of this really is, Michaela, that a 95% arrest record or, you know, burglary solving record is pretty good. So you have to get 100, and as a result of that, you have to frame someone. You know, the law certainly operates against that and holds people accountable in light of that. And so the federal government, we have to, you know, remind people that this is a federal prosecution and that there's an 11-year sentence that could be on the end of it because you really want perfection. You know, look, in any neighborhood, if you have a 90-something% rate for solving things, I think the people would be gleeful. So to want to get to 100, I just think it shocks the conscience, and the injustice of it all will be rewrited.
I think people would look sideways at 100% because we know nothing is perfect, even your hair. Let's talk about bringing into question, though, these other cases that these officers would have touched dozens and dozens of other cases. Does it now just bring those into question?
You know, that is an excellent point. And the fact is that whenever there is something like this that comes to light, I think there will be an unearthing of exactly what happened. What were the investigations like? Who were the investigators? You know, were there problems with these cases? And of course, it could mean the undoing of these cases. And so, you know, you always want to have confidence and faith in the system, particularly a system of justice that many people believe doesn't always do justice. And when you hear stories like this, you know, it really cements that point. And for it to happen, as we began this conversation, Michaela, to a 16-year-old, I think it's further problematic. You know, and certainly the federal government will get to the really crux of this in doing this prosecution. And I think the purpose of the prosecution is to instill a trust and to show members of the community that other people are watching, to ensure that there's honesty and integrity with the process. And that's what we all can need and depend upon.
Okay. Joey Jackson, you are tremendous, and I appreciate that you're here to walk us through some of these tough cases.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Good. I'm just being real. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Always.